guys, welcome back to another episode of the Fit Check podcast. I'm your host Victoria and we talk about fashion, culture and stories all from the university student's perspective. Welcome back and welcome to our new set. Whoop whoop! We're in a new set today. This is going to be our home. It is a lecture hall and I'll talk a bit about that, but before we get into anything, please, if you would like to be on this podcast for the rest of this season and for season 2, please be sure to DM us on Instagram and on TikTok if you have us on TikTok as well, and say put me on, and then we'll put you on. You could be a creative, you could be a fashionista, you could be anything creative, photographer, videographer, stylist, anything. If you enjoy fashion or you enjoy creativity and you want to share your story, your experiences and your journey, all you gotta do is just give us a DM. Now, as you can see today, I'm on my own again, and I don't mind. I like being on my own. But it's been a very, very busy week. We've got so much to dive into. Like, we've been absent. We haven't been posted a lot in terms of podcasting. Like, I know we said every week we're going to be posting a video, and we haven't. And I thought, let me clear up the air. First things first. We had Graduate Fashion Week, and that, honestly, that's a lot to dive into. Graduate Fashion Week was just, I think, 2 weeks ago now. Yeah, or it feels like a bit less than that. No, it was 2 weeks ago. And we were in London. It was absolutely amazing. Like, amazing. And I've got so much wisdom that I've learned that I thought I need to bring it back home to you guys. Because if you didn't come to Graduate Fashion Week, if you're a creative, a designer, anything to do with that, and you didn't come this year, I just got a sigh. I've just got a sigh, because this year, I mean, every year is good. I mean, I've only been twice, so I can only speak for the 2 years I've been. But this year, it was amazing. Like, it was so good. It was full of insightful talks. It was full of amazing, creative people. Like, I was gobsmacked by the amount of amazing things that were there this year. And I think also what I will do is I will talk about my first time ever going to Graduate Fashion Week compared to like this year, because there's been a bit of a change. So first off, for those who don't know anything about Graduate Fashion Week, let's actually break it down. So Graduate Fashion Week is a huge event at the end, usually end of the academic year, where graduates from all over the country and even from beyond showcase their work from their third year final collections, or from their magazines, or from media, film, anything. So it's your final work and it's graduates, because it's for graduates. However, if you are not a graduate, you can still go, you can still participate, you can still be part of it. It is more than open to everybody, regardless of whether you're graduating or not. I really love Graduate Fashion Week because they don't just cater it just for university, they also cater it to secondary schools, colleges, and I kind of wish my school knew about it a little bit, because I would have loved to have gone to Graduate Fashion Week. It is far away from West Midlands in a sense, because it's in London, but it's really insightful, and I actually really enjoyed it. When I went for the first time, I went with 2 of my friends, and it was interesting. It was hot. I remember it was really hot. Even on the one that happened this year, it was really hot as well. But I think that adds to the vibes. You know, it's fashion, it's warm, it's London, it's Brick Lane in Shoreditch. Very colourful streets. Really, like, if you want to get really good photos, go to Brick Lane in London. It's so beautiful. The graffiti, the art, the bicycles, just the culture that's there is absolutely amazing. The restaurants, the cafes, it's just chef's kiss. It's not far from Liverpool Street Station, so it's about like 5-6 minute walk. I walked there pretty much every day, so yeah, it's really not that long of a walk. And I also recommend going with a friend. They don't have to study fashion, because the 2 friends that I went with don't actually study fashion. One of them studied architecture and one of them studied media, so kind of looks a little bit, but it's not necessarily the same thing. But they came with me and they had a really good time. I remember I went twice. It was a 3-day event at that time. This year it was 4 days, so double the fun. I went on the first day and I went on the last day. The last day was actually a bit different because I was dressing. And I want to talk about dressing because I think every single fashion student, regardless if you do making, designing, or business, marketing, PR, I feel like every single person should dress. And I'll get into that in just a minute. But it was really, really fun. Did the dressing, I spoke to loads of universities as well. Even though at the time I was already at Coventry University, I think it's good to also speak to other unis to see what they do as well. I know that for some people, they actually, when they finish their first year or even second year, they actually switch to another uni because they've got a different course or a better course or something like that. So it's good to open your eyes to other opportunities. I remember when I went on the first day, I spoke to a lot of students. I talked to them about how they got to third year, how it was a journey. All I know is that it was hard, it was long, it was tiring, it was all of those things. And like, I can imagine, it's not easy. Yeah, it was absolutely amazing speaking to them this year as well as last year as well. I think Graduate Fashion Week will definitely be an event I go to yearly. It's amazing. You meet such amazing creative people that you be like, I would have never thought to have met not weird people, but like crazy creative people that are just testing the boundaries, people that are creative through and through. I was astounded. I was overwhelmed by the amount of just creativity in the room. I was like, oh my gosh, I got competition. But yeah, it was absolutely amazing. So I recommend you go. You can bring your mom, your dad, your sister, your dog, your cat. You can bring anyone. Just, come and have a fun time. It's affordable. If you go to a uni that is actually participating in the catwalk shows, you can go for free as a student. So, remember that for next time. And yeah, be sure to come. Honestly, it's amazing. Now, my experience dressing. Let's start from the beginning. So, when I was in first year, in our first module, we had to actually intern for a third year student. And I had an amazing third year who I was interning for. They might make an appearance soon, no hints. But and she taught me a lot. She always loved experimenting, which is one thing that I have decided to do from that point. That as a creator, sometimes you can have an idea, you can have a project, and then all you want to do is focus on that one thing, but then you don't actually leave room to explore different avenues, explore different things. I'm the type of person, I was like that. I'm kind of still like that, where like if I have an idea, I just stick to it and I get it done. But I don't really leave room for experimentation. I don't leave room for trying new things. So that's why I'm really glad I had my third year that I had, because she taught me so many different aspects. She tried different things. She tried and tested. Some things didn't work, but some things did. And then by the time you saw her end collection, you saw oh my gosh, everything. It makes sense, everything, all of the experimentation, all the sampling, it all came to this amazing, beautiful collection. And I remember it was the end of the year, like in terms of academic year for first year, and she sent me a message and she was like, obviously she had been selected. In fact, she not only was selected for the catwalk, she was selected for the Culture and Heritage Award, which she did win, so I was so proud of her. And she then asked me, would you like to help dress in general? It wasn't just for her actual collection, it was just in general. And I was a bit like, should I? But then I was like, I don't want to. It's in London. I don't want to go all the way to London. But I had to break my fears because, oh, by the way, I'm a little tiny bit sick. So if you hear me sniffing, I'm so sorry. If you're listening in your ears, I apologize for the depths of my gut. I'm so sorry. When I was a bit younger, I never used to like traveling. I used to get a bit intimidated by trains and stuff like that. So I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, especially because London's such a busy city. It is, don't get it twisted. But honestly, it's not as hard as you think. It really isn't. So I took my train and I went down to London. I stayed with a friend. Sorry, I didn't take train. I took coach. I took coach that time. So I went to London, stayed with a friend. Definitely try to get accommodation with other people. So if you have family members living in London, beg them, can I stay with you? Because living in London, I promise you, living in London is hard. So imagine staying in it, even if it's for a couple days. I stayed with my really good friend and she let me stay there for as long as I stayed there for about 4 days. And it was good because you also have to pay money for TFL. I remember when they charged me, it was £8.80. I will never forget that number because it was very traumatic. £8.80. You might as well just take a tenner. at that point. But yeah, TFL, no joke. Okay, so if you're gonna go to London for any reason, whether it's going to a fashion show, visiting family, or just sightseeing and stuff like that, don't get a hotel, especially if you're a university student. Try to save. If you've got friends, please beg them, or if you don't have friends, make friends. But or if you can as well, you can commute, so you can go there and come back. It's not that, you know, bad. To London to Coventry by train is about an hour and a bit. It's not terrible, so you can just sleep and you'll be back in Coventry. So I stayed with a friend, and yeah, I was a bit nervous about going to London for the first time and taking a tube and all that stuff. Like, I think, was that the first time I had been to London by myself? I'm trying to think. That's the first time, yes, I was in London by myself. Now, if I should go to London tomorrow, I'll go. I am a London girl by definition. I like London a lot, but I'll never live there. I've made a declaration that I cannot live in London. It's too busy for my liking. I like calmness. I like calmness, but I feel like London is a great place to go for a weekend because there's so much stuff. Like, I feel like you will never get bored in London. I feel like you can never, because the events that are on, the sightseeing you can do, the museums you can visit, and it's such easy access for your tubes, coaches, trains. Honestly, London is a really good place to go to, so I really enjoyed it, and the weather was amazing, so I can't complain. So by the time I had arrived, I went in with my friends for the first time. It was really, really beautiful. We were really, really excited. The line was long. Everyone was busy and getting ready for Graduate Fashion Week. And back onto the story when Tala, I've just spilled her name. It's, yeah, my intern. No, not my intern. The woman, the girl I was, oh God, I've got left. The girl that I was interning with. Sorry guys, my brain jammed. Okay, it's back on. Okay, so the girl I was interning for, she was showcasing her collection. So I went in to Graduate Fashion Week, signed in, went in, and I was ready to dress. Was I scared? A little bit. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit scared because I remember a week before they had done a little meeting on Zoom to talk about what dressing is about, what to bring, what not to bring, and I'm going to share all of that with you. So if you want to dress, basically dressing is the process of getting a model onto the catwalk, okay? It requires speed, stealth, and attention to detail. If you don't have those three things, forget it. Forget it. No, to be fair, if you don't have those details, you can still do it and learn. Because to be fair, some people don't have that attention to detail from birth. I never did. At that when I was younger, but as you grow older you start to pay more attention to the details and the small things. I think doing stuff that require it can provide that training. So I remember when I walked into the room and there was a lady, she was like, okay, what's your name? I told her my name, and then she said, okay, by the end of the day I probably won't remember it. I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. So then she showed me to my rack where I was going to be where all the clothes were that model was going to wear. Now, I always used to get so intrigued. How do they know which model's wearing what? But what it is, it's like they spread out the collection. So what they will do is they have one model who will wear 5 garments, but they will all be different designers. And it's quite interesting how it works. So you're given a model. I had an amazing, beautiful, funny, like I had a nice model. I'm really happy. And I thank God Almighty that I had a good model because I was scared. I was hearing some stuff. You know, it's kind of seen as a cliche when you hear of like models being, you know, a bit, you know, much. But it's not. But they're not all like that. In fact, they were really, really nice. I had a really, really nice model. Her name was Dory. And when it came to dressing her, I remember she came in, she hadn't eaten anything. And we were strictly told you're not allowed to bring food or drink into the dressing room because obviously you don't want to damage any garments or anything like that. You don't want to be responsible for that. In fact, that's the last thing you'd want. Like, you could, first off, I don't think they'll ever let you dress again, I think. But you don't want to be responsible for ruining someone's garment. Like, somebody that spent a lot of time making this garment, you don't want to be the one that ruins it. So yeah, no food or drink. But I didn't kind of listen. So she was hungry. I felt so bad as well. Like, I felt like, frick, like she wants to eat something. So I went to the model station and I got her water, I got her some grapes, and I got her a croissant, and I hid it well. She ate and she was fine. Like, I didn't want to be the reason why she fainted on this runway. I didn't want to be the reason. So I got her the food. I didn't get caught. And nothing got ruined. But don't do it anyway. Just tell your model, eat beforehand. Okay? And I think they should make time to eat beforehand. So it came to the dressing part. And when it came to actually dressing, you have to be quick. If you are a girly or whatever, if you're a girl that has nails, take them off. Don't wear them. Don't wear them. Because I had fake nails, but they were really short. But I was still struggling a little bit. You're going to be when I tell you you're dressing a model, you're dressing the model from head to toe. Head. They don't put anything on. All they do is they put their hands out, arms up, legs out, legs in. That's it. They don't button anything. You're supposed to do that. You're the dresser. So when it came to dressing, I felt so bad because some people had really big outfits, like really big extravagant outfits. There was this one individual from last year who had like a cake themed garment, and one of the headpieces was a cake with like 8 tiers. And I felt so bad. I was looking at the dress and I was like, I just laughed in my head because I was like, that could never be me. I'm so sorry. I have to say bye. I'm not doing that. But I had quite easy garments, so I was happy. But there was one garment I felt so bad for. There was a girl in front of me who had a garment that had so many beads. Like, she was beadified, and obviously some of the beads were falling, and I was like, oh my gosh. And some of the designers actually forgot to give some of their models shoes, so a lot of the models actually walked without shoes. So the models walked without shoes, and I felt so bad. There was this one girl, she was walking in lace socks, lace on like proper like floor, like you could slip if you walk too fast. But luckily she didn't fall, she didn't break anything, so thank God for that. But like, if you are a designer and you are going to have your clothes on a runway, regardless if it's Graduate Fashion Week, make sure you bring your model shoes. Otherwise, your models will wear their own shoes, or they won't wear any, and then they'll fall over, and then your garment doesn't look nice anymore. So if you are a fashion designer, think about those small details. That's the thing about just attention to detail. And it came to a point where I need to stop hitting the mic, sorry. When we got to actually dressing them, you actually cannot forget your model's name, because sometimes designers will actually change who wears their garment based on their facial features, or if there's something about another model they want to wear their garment. So sometimes, I would say about like 5 or 6 times, they had actually changed my model's clothes. And it was a bit confusing because I had gotten used to a pair of clothes, and then they're like, oh, sorry, taking that away, giving it to another model. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. Sometimes they would just add another pair of another garment on, and it's like, oh. And then I remember one time I made the mistake. I went up to the woman that was on like the desk and everything, and I was like, someone's just added another garment on, but it doesn't fit my model or something like that. And then they asked, okay, what's your model's name? At the time, I didn't remember it. I knew it began with D. I just didn't know if it was like Dodo or something like that. I forgot. And then I was obviously and ahhing and stuttering, and she's like, don't ever forget your model's name. Don't ever forget your model's name. I was like, sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Sorry, I forgot the model's name. I was like, frick, how am I doing this? And this was like a good 20 minutes in, by the way. Like, I wasn't even there for that long, and I was already getting told off. I was like, sorry. So I had to go back, revise my model's name, and then I was like, okay, her name's Dory, and she's amazing, and you've added some clothes to her rack, and they don't fit, so fix it up. So yeah, dressing is, like I said, it's not for the week. There were some ups and downs. I was dressing for about 2 to 3 hours. I did leave early because I actually had a coach the next day really early, so I wanted to go home and stuff. And also, I really didn't want to stay there that long. I was like, it's time to go. But yeah, so Bobby, it was really, really fun. I won't lie to you. It was hectic, but it was fun. I made a really good friend on the day. It actually turns out she went to the same university as me, but she was already graduated, so we were bonding there. There was another person that was dressing who was actually friends with someone in my course, so we bonded. So I made a lot of friends. I'm actually not gonna lie. It was really, really good. I made a lot of friends. Some of which are active fans of the podcast, so we got a shout out. So yeah, it's a good thing to do. I think the main thing about dressing is that it really humbles you. If you're the type of person that you think fashion is easy or breaking into the fashion industry is easy, dress, and I promise you'll think different. I promise you. I was humbled. You know, being nice is actually not enough. Some people, you know, you can be a nice person, but in fashion you have to be precise, you have to be specific, you have to be blunt and honest as well. You can't be, you know, shying away from when someone asks you a question. You gotta answer it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't answer it, they're gonna tell you off, and like they're not afraid to tell you. And I think you know what I think is so crazy? They're not afraid to tell you off in front of everyone. So if you're naughty, if you do something silly, they will shout at you. Yeah. So try not to cry, because I was on the verge. I just don't like getting shouted at in front of people. Like I feel like that's so embarrassing, and my heart's beating really fast, and I just can't do it. But luckily, I didn't get shouted at that much. We did have one model meltdown. I remember there was a model like on the opposite side, and she was screaming. She was just shouting like, "Get this off!" And I was like, "Oh." And I looked at my model, and we looked at each other. Well, whoopsie daisy. Another thing about dressing, I'm going to give you all the warning signs. If you don't take this in the wrong way, but if you are not comfortable around body parts, don't dress. There's a lot. Sometimes models will be quite open. They will be open because they're getting dressed in and out of garments, and there's only so much they can wear because they don't want to disrupt the clothes, or they don't want to add something to the clothes, because you never know. You could be wearing a strapless dress and you can't have your bra showing. So what I would recommend, if you're not mature, so ask yourself, am I mature to handle this? Because the models, sometimes we don't actually appreciate how vulnerable, and how, is vulnerable the right word? I'm trying to think of a word, like how open like models are. Like, you know, they are really allowing that this is a comfortable space that they're trying to, you know, feel comfortable in. And if they are around immature people, you're going to make them uncomfortable. So sometimes you have to think about yourself, yes, but you also have to take consideration into your model. Your model is not a thing. She's, you know, he or she is not a thing. They are not a mannequin. They're a person. So you do have to treat them with an element of respect. So if you know deep in your core that you cannot handle body parts everywhere, if you can't be respectful, if you can't be mature, if they ask you to dress, say no thank you. Simple. You know, and I think a lot of models don't get credit for the things that they do. They don't just walk up and down a runway. They take a lot of consideration in how they look, how they take care of themselves. You know, they also have to compete with other models. Like, you know, the modeling world is so competitive. Like, when I was younger, I used to watch America's Next Top Model, and I said to myself, if I was ever a model, you can throw me off a bridge. I'm not doing that, okay? Like, first of all, I like cake, okay? I can't stop eating cake. Cake is my favourite food in the world. I also like wache. I like jollof fries. I love fufu. So, you can't really make me skinny, like, especially the skinny that they are. I can't do that. But also, the good thing that I don't remember it for this year, but last year when I went to it was the first catwalk show. I think it was probably the second. It was actually a very, very beautiful runway. They had a model who was in a wheelchair, and I remember when they were just going through the catwalk, and like the clothes were just floating. It was like a river, and I was looking. I was like, that's so beautiful. You know, we're breaking the stereotypes. You don't have to be tall and skinny and white to be a model. You could be beautiful dark skin, you could be brown skin, you could be anything. You could be short, tall, dark, slim, wide, anything, and you can still model. In fact, you can, if you have a disability, you know, you can still model too. So I loved that Graduate Fashion Week were breaking down those boundaries. They're breaking them down, and, you know, saying, you know what, you don't have to look a certain way to be a model. You just have to be passionate, and you're going to have to be able to be up for the job. But back onto my point, if you're not mature, don't dress. Just don't dress. But the good thing about Graduate Fashion Week is they have other opportunities that you can be doing. You don't have to dress. If you want to get involved in it, you can do social media. You can help with the actual organisation of the event if you want to. You can help just in general, be an assistant. So there's other jobs and other roles that you can do as well. You don't have to dress, okay? But I recommend if you're in first year, in second year, at least dress once. I won't dress again. I'm not doing that. I think it was a bit too fast paced for me, but like I said, if you do it, you've actually, if you think about it in terms of the industry, you know, when you do add extra to your portfolio, you stand out. You do. When you do more, you get more, is what I'm trying to say. Because some people will do less, but I think that's what's going to get them far. No. Because if they're looking at your portfolio and they're looking at somebody else's portfolio, like they look at somebody else's portfolio and it says they've done styling and they've done photography, whatever, cool, great, amazing. But they see you've done photography, styling, and you've dressed at a fashion show, a really big fashion show. They'll be like, this girl or guy's got some experience. I want this person on my team. So then they'll add you, like, in comparison to the other person. Isn't that not what you want? You want that. Of course you want that. So, you know, get involved. The great thing about Graduate Fashion Week is that you can actually do these things. You don't have to apply. I didn't apply. You know, my lecturer just put me forth. It just said, they put me on the list. It's all done through university. So if you ask your lecturers, they'll do it for you. I don't have to apply online. You can apply online if you want to. But it's pretty straightforward. You don't have to pay. You don't get paid, but you get paid in experience. So I think that's more important than getting paid. So, yeah. Dress if you can, but if you can't, like I said, yeah. Also, another thing about dressing is you're not allowed to bring phones. So if you want to try to prove to someone you dress, you can't. You have to just give word of mouth because you can't take photos, because obviously there are models that are indecent. So yeah. And also you can choose if you want to dress males or females. So if you're not comfortable around a certain sex, you can change to. So there's a lot of flexibility there. But yeah, it's very hard work. You're going to be carrying garments that are bloody heavy, but I 110% recommend, if you want to dress, go for it. Now this year, Graduate Fashion Week, it was the first year that I had actually gone as a podcast host. We were speaking with lecturers, teachers. We have a lot of interviews that we haven't put out yet, but I promise you they're coming out this week by God's grace. But we've spoken to loads of different people about their collections, how they got through third year, because I've not touched third year yet, and I won't touch third year after another year. I'm taking a year out to focus on the podcast. So there's a lot of big things like that coming, guys. I promise you, when I say there's big things, guys, I'll tell you there's big things coming. So stay tuned. So it will be a while until I do third year. But what I will say is that I think third year will not be easy. I don't think third year is not designed to be easy. I think it gets harder each year, because I look back at first year and I think that was hard. But I look back at second year and I think, eesh, that one was shaggy. That one was hard. Like, second year was difficult. I think second year, really has built me up more. I think if I went from first year straight to third year, I wouldn't be prepared. I think in second year, you're going to get a lot more criticism with your work. You're going to be quizzed a lot with your work. When I mean criticism, I don't mean it in a negative sense. I mean it more in a positive sense, that, you know, you're going to be asked to explain why you're doing certain things, why you've chosen a specific path, you know, that sort of thing. But they're preparing you. I think second year is preparation for industry, I think. And I recently, if you've been keeping up with the news, you are seeing that there has been a bit of an interest rate added onto student loans. So when people are finished university, they are paying back, obviously. Once they meet a certain threshold, you will pay back your student loan. And a lot of university students have an added interest. That's absolutely ridiculous. And I hope and pray that the government or the council will sort this out, because it is ridiculous. And then there was a question that came: is university worth it? Is university useful? Is it a waste of time? And I really had to sit with myself and think about this, because obviously I am in university, so it kind of is a bit, you know, I'm kind of picked an answer there. But I think university is what you make it. I think you make university, personally, for me. I think you choose how you want your university experience, how you want to pan out, personally, for me. Because I've heard some people who have just honestly thrown away their university, like their first, second, and third year. They've just gone through it and they never tried. They just got through it. And I think with creative courses, you can't just get through it. And I want to explain it in a way because, you know, we're having a break right now in Cov Uni. If there's anybody that is doing a creative course, if you're doing fashion, if you're doing media, anything like that, if you feel like in your last 2 years, you haven't really done a lot, use your third year, use your second year, use your first year to do that. I've always said that first year is the year of finding out who you are. What do you like? You experiment. That's your experimentation year. Second year is when you start to narrow it down, but you do it through experience. You start reaching out to businesses. Reaching out, even it doesn't even have to be big businesses. Okay, don't start emailing Apple and then when they don't respond to you, you want to fight me. Don't. Try the small companies, the businesses that got 1,000, maybe 500 followers, maybe 1,000 followers. Say, can I come and help take some photos for free? Just to get experience. No one's gonna say no to free work. But especially if you're a business. If someone says to me, Victoria, I would like to help you for free, I'm like, yes, come on in. Come on in. So obviously there are levels. Yeah, don't be doing everything for free. Yeah, respect yourself. But use second year as a year of getting experience, meet new people, go to events. I can't stress that more than anything. Go to events. Don't stay at home sleeping, please. Don't do that. And then your third year is the year where you crown it all off. You use all those skills you have grasped through your first and second year to fly off into the sunset. But let's say, for example, you're this type of student that hasn't not necessarily done that. And that's okay, because a lot of uni students are not told that. It's kind of something that you would assume people have. But some people have just generally not even thought about that. So what I would suggest is, instead of necessarily kind of trying to start again, just use what you've learned already. Okay, I've done these modules, okay. Now try to add in a project, an outside project. Communicate with other university students that do different courses to you. Collaboration is important within your course, but it's also very important outside your course. I can attest to that. I've met so many people that are outside my course. In fact, I've met people outside of my uni, and through that, they've actually helped me with my podcast. They've helped me with my personal development. So I'm more than graced to have had those people. I also do stuff in my church as well. I've started to do some social media for my church. So I'm getting experience anywhere I can. And I don't like when people say that there isn't any experience. There is. You're just not looking in the right place and you're not asking the right people. There are, especially nowadays in Coventry, there are so many small businesses arising, and some of them do need help with their social media. Some of them don't even know how to do it. But you do. All you need to do is go and sell yourself. Say, I can do this for you, I can do that for you, and here's why you should hire me. Even if they don't pay you, it's enough, because that goes into your portfolio and that gives you that gives you a footstool. Yeah, it gives you a footstool. Yeah. You want a footstool, okay? It'll give you a footstool, okay? So definitely do that. For me personally, I'm a bit scared of technology. I think for me, my biggest flaw, is sometimes I don't take criticism very well. You'll say, okay, Victoria, this isn't great, or this isn't the best. I'll be like, okay, thanks, thank you. And I'll go home and be like, what are they talking about? This is good, what are they actually on about? But it's something I'm learning. It's something I'm getting through. I'm learning to stop take criticism as an insult. Because not all criticism is. Some of it is, we'll just ignore it. But if it is not, I've never received any hurtful criticism, which I'm very blessed for. I've always received constructive. Because you don't want to have a teacher that honestly just kisses your bum every single day. You want to have a lecturer or a guider or a mentor who actually says, okay, yes, this is great, but this is not the best. Here's how you can improve it. You want that. If you don't get it from your lecturers, which I'll be surprised if you don't, you can seek people in your course, you can ask family and friends, you can ask other people. In fact, I always recommend, if you have a photo shoot or if you do a project, show it to people that don't do fashion or don't do media or don't do photography. Show it to someone. And if they don't understand it, you've not done a good job. No, I'm kidding. If they understand it, if they're on the right lines, maybe, you've hit the mark. But if they don't, that's where your improvement comes in. Sometimes, my dad, for example, he does architecture, so he knows nothing about fashion, okay? He knows nothing. So what I will do is if I have a design or if I have an idea, for example, if I design an event, I'll show him the design. And then I'll ask him, what do you think? And then he'll be like, okay, so this is what I think. This is the event for this. And I'll be like, okay, he understands that. Sometimes it's good to get outside perspective. People that don't do fashion at all, someone that doesn't do your course at all, if you don't feel like you're getting that support with your lecturers, which again can be the case. Not the case for me, and it's certainly not the case for some people, but it happens is what I'm trying to say. It's been a long day. I'm super tired. I don't have any Vaseline, so my lips are really dry as well. But yeah, that was, you know, the graduate fashion week. There's so much more to talk on. I think, you know, we brought Timothy. Timothy is our mascot, for those who don't know. I think for some people it's a bit confusing, like, why is this girl just walking around with a dog? That's not real. Timothy is our mascot. He is our fashion stylist, and he will soon be around. Don't worry. Today he's having a break. He's honestly, he's been tired since graduate fashion week, so we're giving him a bit of a break, but he'll be back soon, so don't worry. But yeah, we are slowly coming to the end of season 1. It's honestly been a journey. I'm surprised that we're on episode 8. I honestly thought that I would have quit by now, but we're still going strong. But yeah, life is really lifing at this point. You know, I think I'm coming to a point in my life where things are starting to slow down. It was very, very high up. You know, I was briefly touching the burnout stage, and I think that's the last thing I'll talk on today is burnout is real. Don't think it doesn't happen. It's real. It only gets even realer if you don't address it. Don't confuse busyness for success, please don't. It's not good to be too busy. I promise you it isn't. There were days where I was just not doing anything for myself. I was doing things for everybody else, and they mama, and I wasn't doing anything for me. The day that I realized I was doing too much work, too much even podcast stuff, too much outside stuff, too much extra outside stuff, was the day that I actually forgot my dad's birthday. And I'm really good at remembering birthdays, but I forgot. I didn't get him a gift. I was like, frick, what am I gonna do? So luckily I sorted it out, but very last minute. But that year I actually wanted to get him a proper full gift, but I couldn't because I was so busy. I didn't even look at my calendar, and I didn't see that my dad's birthday was coming up. So, you know, it's all well and good to get experience. It's all well and good to get, you know, that extra mile. But remember to take care of yourself. You need to take care of you, because I'm going to be honest, not everyone is going to take care of you. You have to, okay? So take breaks. One thing I've started doing is scheduling. So for me now, I come to uni to do podcast stuff. I only do that 3 times a week. The 4 times is for myself, okay? I read a book, I paint, I try to read my Bible as much as I can, or I plan for the next year, or I do more admin stuff that's relatable to me. Stop touching the mic, Victoria. But yeah, take care of yourself, please. And like I said, burnout is real. Don't wait for it to burn you out before you actually understand what it is. Make time for yourself. Make time for your businesses, or make time for your brands or your photography or whatever. Make time for that, but make sure to make time for you. And on that note, we're gonna say goodbye, but stay tuned. This is our new set. We're gonna add some more stuff to it. This is the vibe that we're looking for, and it's only gonna get better than this. We had a bit of a slump. I'll be so real. We had a slump, but we're back on it now. We had some reshuffling in the team. We've got some new members in the team as well. So early up from here. But like I said, thank you guys so much for watching today's episode and listening to today's episode. If you are found in your ear, hi guys. Hello. I will see you guys next week.